Here's the deal. I want bipartisanship. Democrats in general, when you take a look at who mostly work towards bipartisanship, usually Democrats. Look at the Affordable Care Act. It's much less than it should have been. Why? Because they took a whole lot of input to keep so much private in Obamacare, which is a private system. And they took all this advice from Republicans and centrist Democrats. They made the product much less than it should have been. And you know what? Still, it got 0 Republican votes. So it's best if President Biden, is not suckered into some false bipartisanship where you give the House to the Republicans and then at the end they give you 0 votes. So to ensure the bill is not called bipartisan, even though you give them quite a bit of what they want. So they go ahead and they get what they want without having to stamp their name on it. That is their modus operandi. However, on the other side, the converse isn't true. And you know who saw that? Dana Bash, not the bastion of liberal journalism. And she called out a Republican senator on that same issue. Take a look at this and then let's take it on the other side.
I think it's really in the interest of the Biden administration not to do what the Democrats on the Hill are planning to do, which is on Tuesday, as you know, start to go down the road of a process that will jam Republicans and really jam the country, because with a bare 50 vote majority, remember they have the 50-50 Senate now, so it's divided right in half,
right.
That they would use what's called reconciliation, and basically what it says is you ignore the interests of the minority party and just jam it through. And it's not in the interest of the party, of the Democratic Party, to do that, in my view, because it will set President Biden down a path of partisanship that I think will poison the well for other bipartisanship we'll need on so many issues.
Well, you mentioned poisoning the well. I just have to ask you, because you did support Republican efforts to use reconciliation on a few things, like trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, passing the Trump tax cuts. So explain why it was okay for Republicans but not Democrats.
Well, reconciliation is a tool that you're able to use. It has to relate directly to the budget. And what the Democrats are talking about doing is, one, using it right off the bat without, trying to come up with a bipartisan compromise as we have on COVID-19. If you can't find bipartisanship on COVID-19, I don't know where you can find it. Our proposal, as an example, is going to have all of the health care funding that President Biden has in his proposal, all of it. So there's a lot of bipartisanship. But second, reconciliation is not meant for the purposes that they're trying to use it for.
Of course, he just lied. That what they supported, the bill that they supported, has all the things Biden has in it, just a lower cost. The bill, reality, they are proposing $600 billion. Biden is supporting $1.9 billion. They are not helping the states. They are not helping a whole lot of people. They want to reduce from $1,400 to $1,000. And likewise, they want to keep it at $300 unemployment instead of $400. How do they expect these people to live? These millionaires are trying to give a little pittance to the average American citizens who are responsible for keeping this economy afloat, who are responsible for all the primary care, who are responsible for getting us out of this COVID. They can stay out there in Congress, they can stay at home, but all others have to go ahead and put themselves at risk to make sure that they are protected. But that's not enough. Again, listen to what he said. The Republicans that they should have some sort of a compromise. Really? We have a President, Donald Trump, who got elected, who didn't get elected with the majority of the vote. In fact, 3 million votes less than the person he supposedly beat. And what did we get out of that? He got to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices. And when it was time to compromise on justice, hell no. Obama had a justice over a year in waiting. Did they compromise? No, they didn't. They didn't even give the guy a hearing. So let's be clear here. Unless Democrats show some backbones, and it's not about not, turning the other cheek here, because I believe in turning the other cheek on various issues, and not necessarily turning the other cheek, but actually taking a blow for better to move things forward. But in this case, where it materially affects American citizens, the well-being of American citizens will be affected by the size of this stimulus, by the size of this COVID relief bill. We don't have the time to compromise with folk who have no idea what Americans are going through. We have no time to try to create a false sense of bipartisanship with people who have appointed 3 Supreme Court justices with minority rule, with people who have denied many their well-being with minority rule. That when he talks about the Senate being 50-50, it's not 50-50 the Senate. There are 40 million more people represented by the Democratic 50 than represented by the Republican 50. Let's get real. The Senate is not 50-50 when we count who they represent. So Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, remember who you're there to serve, not bipartisanship, but the American people. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.